Okay, here we go. This is Brent from PathandTarot. I'm the author of these decks as well as all the content across all the platforms and website here. So in this video we're going to talk about the Path and playing card deck. A little bit about it, how to use it in divination. There's a few different ways to do that, and then we can talk about how it can connect to the elemental cards as well as the tarot cards at the end. And you'll see, based on these colors that you can already see cycling through how they connect. It's all a very cool, very colorful thing. So you'll see right away that the playing card structure is very much obvious. It's all intact, ace through 10. But these decks have 4 court cards instead of 3. Jack, Queen, King is your regular 52 card playing deck. This is 56 playing cards. So it's Jack, Cavalier, Queen, King, C for Cavalier. So that's your addition. That's also the Knight in a tarot card deck. So that's the addition here. And then each of the cards are uniquely colored based on the elemental associations. There's a few different colors based on each element. So the cards are colored in that way, so they can connect to the tarot cards later, but obviously create a visual engaging effect that's sort of meditative in a way that helps you relate the colors to the meanings of the cards too. So colors can help generate meaning in your life as you kind of enter the real world after using these cards, and that's kind of the purpose of linking the color and these meanings. It's very interesting. Okay, that pretty much covers the gist of the purpose of the color for the cards. It's meant to create a deep meaning. It's also relating to the Golden Dawn magical system as well too. That's where these color associations come from. Each element has a different color set, and that's what's been embedded into these cards. Now you may notice, as you've seen them cycle through a few times, the court cards look a little bit different. They've got symbols almost imposed on each other. If we get a court card here, I'll kind of put on the brakes and show you a little bit what I mean. The idea is really to harmonize with the design scheme for the tarot deck, which is all about superimposing symbols on top of each other. So that was really just a design choice to have it make sense in the context of the other decks, but I think it also makes a unique kind of symbol for each court card, and they're a little bit different. Okay, so we've got the decks here. This is all within the Orphalese Tarot program, which is a nice digital platform here to play with the cards in their digital form here, so that you don't have to physically handle them in print. And it's cool because that can preserve your cards in a way. If you've got an old deck and it's been digitized, there's no wear and tear. And so that's one of the benefits of using this program, but it works really well with these decks as well too. I've been able to put the decks into the program so that I can use them here. So Orphalese Tarot, this is not a promo for the program. You don't have to use it, but I think it's a good showcase here. You can use the program for free and try it out if you think it's interesting to work with. I love it so far. Okay, so I'm going to let this deck just kind of sit off to the side here, and we're going to use the playing card deck to go through the first method of divination, which is using the hold on, I'm going to put that back in. It'll be using the game rules called Beat the Devil. So this is a unique divination based on the rules, and I'll show you at the end how you'd want to figure out how to do a divination with it. The idea of Beat the Devil is you have a certain amount of piles and a full deck. So you want to use up all the cards in the deck and be placing them in the piles based on the rules that we're going to get into here now. So you obviously shuffle up the deck and you're going to draw out the first card. So you just place it in your playing space here to make your first pile. So normally the regular rules have 8 piles, but that was for 52 cards. There's 56 cards, so we're going to use 9 piles. And also it's a little bit easier to win the game. If you were to use 8 piles, it's very difficult to actually beat this game. You're looking at about like a 1 in 10 chance of winning. So we'll change that a little bit. So you take your first card out of the deck, shuffle deck here, and you place it in your playing space for pile 1. So now what you do is take the next card out of the deck, off the top of the deck, place it beside your first card. Now if they match, which they don't at the moment now, but if they did, then you just take another card off the top, place it on top of each of the matching cards, one at a time. Just cover it and then cover it. And so now you've got still two cards with cards on top of them. And that's how you exhaust the deck, is through matching. So you're going to find pairs. You may even find 3 or 4 of a kind. Maybe. It's very unlikely, but it could happen. And that's how you want to use up all the cards. So if you use up all the cards without using up all the piles, you win. So you could use up all the 9 piles and go through the cards, and you'd win that way. If you still have cards left over and you can't make any plays, any matches, then you've lost. That's how the game works. We'll go into sort of more strategies as we go through and play it. Now that alone, you would use that in the reading. If you were to win, it's a positive thing for the reading. So it means is that it's like a well-formed reading. So the message that you get out of it is a positive, well-formed message. If you didn't win, then your question that you were trying to ask or the intentions you've set isn't well developed. So you can play it again and keep going until you've developed it well and you've beaten it, and you can make sense of the reading. Now you could still, if you lose, you could still do a reading and just read the cards as they are if you want. But it's up to you, and you can just shuffle them and play it again. So we got a 4 and a 9 here. We're going to take another card, put it beside this card here. And we don't have any matches yet, so 4, 9, and 6. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to shrink the cards a little bit here so we can have some more space. So we want to get 9 out here, so no matches yet. So we got a 7. Still no matches. Got a king. So still no matches. So we got an 8. Yep, so we could. This isn't looking too good for the reading, but this is just a demo reading, so it's not too big of a deal. Got an 8. So we need to make a pair, a match, to go forward in this. So if this is you can see how simple the rules are and actually how difficult this solo game is. Okay, here we go. Queen. Well, we didn't win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got one more because we got 9. 5. Yep. So we didn't. We couldn't make any progress with the cards here, at least for the gaming element. So we could say that this, whatever your intention had you set, we didn't set any, so it wouldn't be well formed. And you could read the cards as they are here, with the meanings that you could look up. Everything will be in the web guide below, so you can go and look up the meanings there. You just read them as they lie, and then that'll be that. You could just shuffle the cards back up. So why don't we do that? Let's just shuffle them up and let's play again. Queen, 6, Jack, Queen. Okay, so here's our first match. So you just cover the queen. It's just real easy. Just put a card over top like that. So let me just keep going. Kind of keep the cards in unusual positions. So nothing, no pairs. We got a 6. There we go. We got a 6. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. We got 2 spaces left. So you're just covering the cards like so. And it's cool because you get to go through all the cards of the deck and see all the colors, but they appear in different contexts, right? Like different cards are at play at different times. So it's a nice way to kind of just meditate with the cards and let the colors wash over you. It's really cool. 7, 8. So there's no pairs. So we've got another pair. So we're just covering the card. So a note here is recovering the card. We can't make any other plays until we've actually completed that sequence. So, if I were to, I drew a card to place it on this one, I couldn't make, matches with 9s or anything until I complete the covering of these 2 cards. Now, since I've covered them, it's complete. It's created another pair here, as you can see with the 10. But I need to make sure both cards are placed. It's sort of like an obvious thing, but I want to make sure it's pointed out because you could get unusual combinations of cards as you're working through it. So now that each of the cards have been placed on top of their matches, I can now begin to find more matches. And we already know that we've got the 2 10s here. So let's cover the 10s like so. So we don't have any matches. As far as I can see, King, Jack, Nope. Let's get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So this is our last card here because we're only going to use 9 spaces. 9 spaces. 8. So we got a match there, so we're going to cover the 8. Cover the 8s. So now that they're both covered, I can make that connection with the 9 right here. So we'll do that. So as you can see, because I've got the 5 here, it's going to cover the 9. I can't make a pair with these 5s yet until I actually cover the 9 right here. So as you can see, we've completed that sequence. Now I've got a pair of 5s here, a pair of kings here. So now this is interesting. We've got 2 pairs in place. We get to decide which one to cover. You know, I can't open up another space here, so I've got to just work with pairs. So this is where strategy comes into place. You can think what cards have been used up already and cover them likewise. Now I think it's hard to say because I haven't been keeping track of that, but if you were to keep track of that, it may allow you to beat this game a little bit easier. Let's just cover the kings. Sevens. So I'm just going a little bit quicker here. So I got 4s and the 5s. I'm just going to cover the 4s. Just see what happens. We got 8s now, 5s. I'm going to cover the 8s. Cover the 2s. Oh, got more kings. So you see what I mean? Like we could have, if we had played these 5, saved the kings, we could have been getting that 3 kings, which is good. You want to be able to use up as many cards as you can in these plays. So we got, yeah, it's just the 5s right now. So we're going to cover the 5. See, look at that. So 5, cover the 5. Oh, and I think that's it. 4, 3, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so that would end this session here. We still didn't win. That gives you a good idea of how to play the game, and you can see it's a pretty tough game to beat. Like it's very unforgiving. Like you have to be good at figuring out the matches, and when you get to that fork in the road of two pairs, which one do you cover, right? You got to think about that because as you can see how the cards play out, you could have created a triple. Maybe, I don't know, it's hard to say. But again, you know, whatever your intention would be not well formed. You just try it again. Now, if you were to beat the devil, win the game, to do the reading, what you would simply do, now it would be easier to do this with the real cards. That's where the digital platform here is not, the best for it. But you would just read from the pile that's got the most cards. So you just look at the pile and, oh, this one has the most cards. I'm going to read from it. If 2 piles have the same amount of cards, then you're just going to, whatever's the highest value on that pile, you would read from that instead. And you could just read them in a linear way or create patterns and shapes with it to read the cards. And you just use the meaning set to create like a narrative to create your fortune, or your divine message, if you want to call it like that. And that's the gist of using this gamed type reading to do fortune telling for yourself or do divination. And it's neat because they've got the game elements. You've got a little bit of chaos happening and a little bit of rules and chance happening too. So there's some strategy involved, and it's nice because the game is selecting the cards for you. So in a way, you're letting the game do that. So it's almost like giving yourself up to like a divine power in a way, that the game itself. So I think that's kind of a unique thing about this type of card spread. And you could do this with regular playing cards if you want. So you don't necessarily need to get these cards if you want to just try that at home. just get a pack of 52 card playing, 52 card playing deck, and just run through these rules. You'll have 4 less cards. You won't have 56. You could do 8 piles instead of 9 if you wanted to. It's up to you. Okay, so that is the gamed version of it here with the playing card size. So let's just go ahead and gather them up, and then we'll do a reading with the tarot size, and we'll do the other type of card spread that you can do with the playing card deck, which is the 9-card matrix spread for the Path and Tarot. So you're going to use this same card spread for all 3 of the decks: the tarot deck, the elemental deck, and this deck. We use the tarot card deck because it's got the meanings right on it, and the color. There's more color in the borders, so you'll see how that works. So the general idea is you got 9 cards. You're going to take 1 card off the top after you shuffle it up real good. Actually, let's let it shuffle while we talk. Gather them up. So now it's shuffling. So you set your intention, whatever you want it to be. Take a card, draw it, put it in the center of the reading space. That's your center card. So that represents like the situation and the intention you're setting. And you're placing cards around that center card to, allow it to tell your story and create that narrative for you. But you're going to be using rules of the elements to help dictate where these cards can land. And so you're going to be creating like barriers using the elements. So earth and water harmonize, they go together, so they'll expand their influence. Fire and air go together, and then their opposites don't go together. So they're going to make a demarcation, a wall, right? So water and fire, they mismatch. So you'll create a barrier. So you can start to see the energy appear one side or the other. So you're going to draw some sort of where the energy lands. You'll see it kind of take form. It's kind of difficult to explain, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So this is our first card in the center, the Queen of Earth and Diamonds. So we'll talk about the playing card associations here before we get into the reading. So the playing card associations are the kind of Rosetta Stone, if you want to think about it, to the tarot cards and the elements, right? So the diamonds are Earth, and that's Pentacles. And so you'll see that this is the black triangle here, which represents Earth and diamonds in this case. So you'll see the symbols appear on the cards like so. Okay, so we got a charismatic woman, a rich woman entering your life. Ooh, that's kind of cool. So this is our center card here. So it's an Earth element, but it's also a sub-element. So that's the interesting thing. The court cards are sub-elements, or elements within other elements. So this has water and earth. And that's kind of weird because that was the center card for the previous reading. In the element cards, if you watch that next, or if you've already seen it, you'll be like, oh wow, that's kind of weird. Water inside of earth, or at least water and earth being like the center element. So let's get our next card. And we're going to be placing it in any of the spaces around this to either harmonize with the center elements or not harmonize with it. So we've got the 3 of spades and air. So we're going to place this wherever we want. We'll place it right here because it says future bad news. You can see that. So I feel like that goes in the future there. It's air, so you can also think about the elements and what they really are. Like air wants to be above, earth wants to be below. You can deal with that if you like. I think that's, if we follow that, I feel like the ace will go here, future news, or maybe it should go here because we're dealing with the future. So these are the interesting things of the matrix that you can start to think about, because it's a 3x3 pattern. You've got, these connections. You can deal with the future and the past if you want. In this case, that's kind of what's happening. It's just naturally, it feels good to do it that way. So I'm going to put the ace underneath here. Future news, future bad news, but it's future news, new beginnings. Jack of air, so we got our jack. So I feel like it could go here because the Jack, it has an earth association. You can see that there, the black triangle pointing downwards. Make the card's a little bit smaller. Yeah, no, that should be fine. So I'll put the Jack up here because it has an earth connection here, but it's still near the air connections we have. New alliances, new habits. So maybe this feels like it should fit here. So we're dealing with the future and like new things. It may fit best up here. So these, you know, I'm walking you through kind of the thought process that you have going on in your head where you'd want these cards. I mean, you could put it down here if you wanted to, but I'm thinking ahead in terms of, you know, how these elements work together. Do fire and air connect, and it seems like, you know, we're dealing with like some sort of future situation here. New stuff is always kind of future. It's got a sense of the future anyways. So let's put it there. Queen. So I think it fits nicely down here. So, you know, we're sort of mismatching the elements in this case, but I think, no, actually, you know what? I'm going to put it here. No, I think right here was good. My first instinct, because you've got water with the element here, and it's also a queen. So this is the queen of air and spades, kind of like a bossy, malicious woman, a separated woman, right there. And so what else do we have here? We got a 7, some more pentacles. So maybe it fits nicely down here to kind of create a triangle here to encapsulate this queen. So maybe the queen has a, you know, the queen's energy is dual. It's got 2 sides to it. See, this is cool. This is where we get like some unique symmetry here, right? The 3 and the 3. So money negation. Avoiding group animosity, tactful monetary boundaries. So it's, you know, you're dealing with like, you know, struggles of money, but not in a necessarily negative way. It's just that you have to like create boundaries with like your resources in a way. But I think the 3 fits good here because you've got the 3 in the future here in this matrix pattern. So it feels good here. It wouldn't feel good there. Again, that's your thought process on how you work with these cards. So again, you know, the patterns kind of naturally just fall into play as you get your cards. So we got the 2 jacks up here, the 2 queens in here. So that's like a really cool pattern that's evolved based on the rules that we're using, how the cards feel in their positions based on their elemental associations and the cards next to them. So you get the 2 jacks close to each other here, the 2 queens close to each other here. So, you know, we could say that there's an overabundance of earth energy, right? The diamonds, you know, pentacles if we relate it to the tarot, and we've got duplicates of court cards. So it's like the jack and the queen have 2 sides to them, and they're both the same suit, right? Air for jacks and their queens. So that's kind of a cool thing to see. So these are the patterns that you're going to have to sort of think through in your head and decode what, you know, meaning they have. So, you know, you've got like 2 characters in this situation, right? The jack, which is like a young person really, and the queen, which is like an older woman, or at least a strong female figure, like the divine feminine energy. Now, you don't have to necessarily relate these to like the actual, you know, gender or sex of like a person in your life. You can just simply look at them as energy, right? The divine feminine energy is passive, and the divine masculine energy is active. And so you could take the jacks as more female-like energy because, you know, they're somewhat ambiguous anyway. You know, with like the pages are princesses actually in the tarot deck. So jacks are kind of the same way. So the jacks and the queens can have the passive energy, and you can already see that because it's got earth in there, right? So you know, you could use that to get more out of the meaning, but the jack could also still be somewhat of a male figure if you want to think of it like that. But I would keep it. I would use the elemental association and keep it as like a passive energy, and just kind of use that. So that's basically how the reading would evolve out. So you've got your 9 cards laid out here, and you can just work through the combinations of how these cards can connect in different ways, and get your message out of the cards, basically. And what we'll do now is we'll open up a deck, and we'll bring out the Path and Elemental deck, and we'll bring out the Path and Tarot cards, and we'll actually look through these cards, because I want to show you how they connect with each other. So a lot of it is through the symbols, the elemental symbols, and the playing card symbols here. They're all meant to interact with the tarot and the elemental cards. So you can now, to use all 3 of these decks in a reading, it's going to be sort of up to you. I'm going to sort of free form a way that you could use the cards, and that's just drawing from them in succession like this. And I'm sort of expanding this matrix. I'm placing cards here. I've just added another line, so we've got 12 cards. I wouldn't go more than like 15 or so, because you're dealing with a lot of cards. But you can just basically pull cards off one at a time, and then just see what you get. And then you can just place them around and just see where things feel good. So now that we've got some elements at play and some tarot cards, you can start to see how these symbols are all interconnected, right? You got I've put the playing card symbols into the elements. So you see here, this is your heart. It's in the element water. Let's see if we can get some, like a cup. Oh, here we go. I had a cup. So there you go. You've got the 8 of cups. So you got, I'm borrowing the symbols of the playing cards as well as the elements in the tarot cards. That's one of the design schemes. But that's what's allowing all these connections to happen through these 3 different types of decks. So I'm just moving the cards around like this and just seeing kind of, what you can do. You can do this on your own, but you can just draw cards off one in succession, just see how they land. You can expand whatever reading you had if you did the matrix style with 9 cards. And already I've kind of created something kind of interesting with 2 spirit cards here. You've got a sub element down here. It's kind of set up an interesting foundation with like the universe right here. It's kind of cool. There, the Jack that we had in the previous reading here is somehow the Jack has become connected with the King and the Cavalier up here. So that's one way that you could take all 3 of these decks and harmonize them together to create and expand your reading, or just use them as separately in the way that they're intended. So the playing card deck has 2 reading methods. You've got the game reading that we did with the Beat the Devil rules, and then the 9 card matrix reading that you could use, and then that can be expanded upon as you use all 3 of the path decks, the path suite. We can call it that if we want, offhandedly. So there you go. That's it. The links will be down below in the description if you want to learn more about the cards. You can get the cards on makeplayingcards.com. You can just search the marketplace for Path and Tarot, and you'll see the cards, and then you can get them that way. And support the channel if you wanted to. You can go on the website and check out other articles, go on my socials and check me out there and engage with me, and do tarot readings and all that cool stuff. So see you out there, and enjoy the decks.